everybody. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to TCR Trinity Competitive Racing.
Well, TCR TJ is the Season 13 Golden Class Champion for Trinity Competitive Racing.
Oh, let's go, dude! Yes!
Jabbar on the podium! He's on it by a 10! Gentlemen, side by side through one.
And silent, and Seafreeze gets a half spin.
Let's fucking go! Wheel bumping.
DRS enable, let's do it.
And Captain Blade battling it out for position. Captain Blade.
Ickle, what the?
Then McChicken goes around and he also makes
Rewind down the front straight. Oh my god. I gotta check the heart rate.
Why do we do this? Because of nights like this.
Yo, welcome everybody to TCR, Trinity Competitive Racing, and welcome to another episode of the Racing Debrief, TCR's podcast where we combine the world of e-racing, sim racing, and TCR with real-life motorsports and Formula One. True racing enthusiasts listen. I'm your host, Seafreeze, and once again, joined alongside me, and it is Mr. Camden Luga.
I would say thanks for having me, but I learned in the last episode that that's not allowed. So I'm going to say glad to be here.
Thanks for joining.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Alright, so we got a good one. This is always a nice classic episode, the TCR mid-season review. This kind of brings me back. We used to always do some, before we even had the podcast, we would sometimes remember me or another TCR Hall of Famer, Mr. Sensation, actually, another co-owner. He always used to put on the YouTube Mr. Sensation's, like mid-season review, and he would come and he would put his own little spin on what he had thought of the season so far. And I know it's a little bit half midway here, but it's just kind of going into the last final four races, right? We had that off week. And we're gonna final off this season, and not only this season, but the F1 24, which will kind of conclude kind of a rather quick game cycle almost, because the next one is almost right around the corner at May 30th. So a couple more races in season 19, but we're gonna go over.
Yeah, time really goes by when you're having fun, Seafreeze. It felt like yesterday that we were taking the green flag in Brazil, and before you know it, we'll be taking the checker flag in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a quick 12 race season, a good size. Lots of fun so far. I was actually able to get in for a few races and maybe some more, which was quite fun actually. Last outing in Japan. But yeah, it's been a fun season. Fun.
It has, and there's been some surprises, some things that we expected, but I think we should go over the points real quick and just kind of summarize what we've seen. So, the top 5 in drivers.
Hey, let me get this one. Because
Okay.
this is what I know, right?
Sure.
These are the facts, right? Here we go.
Yeah.
Driving for McLaren now. Driving for McLaren, B-Tom is the top of the charts at 182, followed by J&B, who is in that Kick Sauber team at 145, and he's actually a lot closer than and having a really stellar season in the F1 series. So he's still within contention, I'd say. He's number 2. GT, in that other McLaren, is at 84 points. So he's helping greatly in that constructors. Just Jose, who I'd spoken pretty highly of in this season. He's at 83 points at Ferrari. Um, but he's gonna be hopefully fighting for that top three, or possibly more, depending on how J&B's next four races go. And then Sir Charles with 70 points for Mercedes, and just slightly outside is Silent with 53 in the Alpine. And that's the top five, and one more for Silent.
Yeah. Um, I would say that the only surprise in that top five, I would say, is JMB, just because he was away for a few seasons. We really didn't know what his pace was going to look like coming back, because he and Capitan kind of disappeared for a little bit, went off into the wilderness, came back, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're the bears of the forest. They're out there ripping people apart. Capitan too, he's been up there. He's been
He
up in the top five
has.
as well. He's been pretty quick as well.
And it was fun racing him. Well, the first time was at Britain earlier in the season, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm out there, I'm like, is this the first time I'm racing with El Capitan? And it's fun mixing it up. I almost kind of forgot that he kind of didn't rejoin with JMB, because, well, at least on the grid. Um, but yeah, it's cool to see him back in it. J&B's there, and I mean, we all knew J&B was quick back then, and I think if he sticks in it for maybe next game, I think he's going to be, kind of solidifying himself. I think in that top driver conversation for future, wins and championships and such like that. If he really practices and keeps up, what he's doing, there's definitely no reason for him not to be. And it is a surprise to see him up there, but he should be there. And it's cool to see him there, because when you look at the other guys, B Tom, how many championships and wins, and it's just expected he's going to be leading. GT's been great in this game cycle. He's in there. Jose, Sir Charles, and Silent, I mean, they're veterans of TCR. I mean, we know what they're gonna be able and capable of, and honestly, I think they could all probably say they've had a decent season, but they could all know probably they'd be like, oh, I can definitely have better seasons, to where they're getting more points closer, because we've seen Silent, up there with B Tom and Jose, closer in points. I think just other factors in attendance and other issues, um, you know, are really what's the cause of it. So, yeah, nothing really to worry about there.
I really think that these last 4 weeks could shake things up a little bit. I really think we're overdue for a new winner. It's been the B Tom and JMB show the whole season, which,
Yeah.
by the way, I just want to touch up on this real quick. Do you remember a certain prediction that both of us made at the beginning of the season?
I do not.
Okay.
That's why
So
we have to go back to the podcast and re-listen and get them views up.
exactly. Yeah. If you guys want to go back and take a look at our preseason prediction, which did not age well, and I'm going to touch up on that, you can go check out, I believe it was episode 43, it was, the TCR Season 19 preview, where both of us said that there would be at least 6 winners on the season.
Mm.
And I might want to get out the Price is Right losing horn, the bump bump bam, because like it's been quite underwhelming, the lack of winners. I thought we were gonna have more, just because Remsley went down to reserve. Charles got really fast towards the end of last season. You got guys like Lyon who are always consistent, but it just happens to be that B Tom is, I want to say like this, but he's kind of in a league of his own. And J&B showed up, and he's prevented B Tom from winning every race, But the reason why I think there could be a new winner is because if you saw the last race, B Tom crashed. He and J&B got into it. He crashed, finished 6th. So you never know. We're going to Abu Dhabi today. Like
Yeah,
Abu Dhabi is the track for chaos.
and if you look back at some races at Abu Dhabi for B-Tom, I mean, they haven't gone great. Um,
True.
I mean, he's done great there in the past, I'm sure, but if you look at a few of his races, he's had incidents that I remember. I mean, obviously, I think he's won there and had his good share moments as well, but um, I think J&B and B Tom are both similar in this fact of they're both aggressive drivers and they're really not going to back out. And I think now that they have this element of almost where something did happen last week or back at Japan and there was an incident. Now coming, they're going to be on track again right next to each other. And B Tom is not going to lift, he's going to have his elbows out. And J&B knows that too now. So is there a chance they come together? Absolutely, especially at Abu Dhabi. With these cars and the double DRS down, those two back straights. It leads itself to a lot of opportunity at Abu Dhabi, and I'm all for it. So either I'll be watching from the cockpit or the commentary booth or the couch. So we'll see which one happens. And I think you're right. If they come together, I mean, that'll open itself for a new winner for sure.
You could do all three of those things that you just said. You could race and commentate from your couch. You could do that.
I very well could, honestly. And now that
You
you
should
say
try it.
that, I should try
Do you
it.
remember the last time that you raced and commentated? Do you remember what track that was?
Abu Dhabi, and you know who won it? And then they
You
took
should
it,
have won it.
and they took it
You
away,
should have won that race.
and they took it away.
Yeah, that was.
They
bullshit.
took it away
That
because
was
I don't
stupid.
even.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Ugh,
You won that race, and that was an
I know.
all-time TCR moment. I don't want to ask this, but like, would that have been your last win to date?
Um,
Your most recent one?
no, because there's probably 3 other races that they took away from me that I could have won too.
Okay,
I think Portugal.
sounds like my season 14
I think
season. That's what that sounds like.
there was quite a few that actually. I think Belgium, right, didn't have one with flip flop.
That's
Didn't go
right.
my way. So I mean, I don't know. That race, it's just that's
Yeah.
what happens. The races go one way or another. But
Yeah, and I kind of want to branch off of that a little bit. The driver that I think is going to get a podium. I think Lion has to get a podium in Abu Dhabi. He is the most consistent driver in TCR. One of the most consistent that I've raced around. And he has somehow not been on the podium yet. And I don't think it's because he's been slow. Like, he's been up there in the top 5. I just think there was one race, I think it was Italy, where he was on the podium, but because of penalties or whatnot, he got taken off of there. He has 4 fourth place finishes. It's going to happen sooner than later.
yeah, I mean, well, for the winner, the podium.
Could be either or. I mean, he's
Yeah.
overdue for a win too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's ever actually won an F1 series, but he's had a lot of fourth for sure this season. Um, yeah, I think, I thought Japan is a quite good track for him. He had a solid race again. I mean, 5th, I was racing with him, and he was quite quick. And honestly, it was a really straightforward race for everyone. It was just a green forward race, and I think it was good in that regard. But yeah, I think we have a sprint coming up at Portugal as well, so that should be interesting, right? I mean, that's a track we don't typically race at that often, right? And a sprint there could mix things up. But then Saudi Arabia has always been a fun one for TCR and Abu Dhabi, and so there's a lot of opportunity still, and I think we've had a couple new signups as well. Hopefully, we'll be on the grid. So we'll get the season strong and see what happens for next game, which will probably be another episode in itself, which we'll not get into. Um, any other people that let me see here.
Yeah, so I do want to touch up on something. It is a big story to keep an eye on for Abu Dhabi. McLaren is very close to clinching the Constructors' Championship. They currently have let's take a look. They currently have a 121-point lead over Kick Sauber. The most points you can get as a team in a race is 44. So if you do the math, basically, McLaren needs to outscore Kick Sauber by 12 points tomorrow, and they've got it.
Yeah.
And the fact that Lion and B-Tom both show up every week, I think it's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh,
which is a huge
yeah.
statement considering there's going to be 3 races to go after this one.
Honestly, I mean, he has a lot of driver championships, but he's never always had a great teammate, right? I mean, he lost last season the constructors to GT and Remsley from Alpine, so coming into this season, it was smart for them to be teammates. As GT gets another constructors, B-Tom gets his. And, the reason why we allow that too at TCR is we want you guys to work with drivers you like to work with, right? And they could be the quick drivers because you want to win, or it could be someone that you just like to practice with. But that's why you want to work with someone who is going to be practicing, and if you want to win the constructors, you're going to have to beat the top. So, just like real Formula One, it's going to be difficult to do it. I mean, B-Tom's been pretty much the staple since he's joined in, and it's been his show since then. And we really haven't seen anyone come through the ranks or even join from external and make an imprint. I mean, we've had mixes here and there throughout the last seasons. Forzan, Lawrence, Remsley for sure, professional, silent. I mean, a lot of these guys are there and they challenge, and that's what brings the quickness out of you. And I look at this team and it's like, whoa, that's a solid team. But I mean, anyone could do that. Or I mean, the constructors. I love the constructors. And the fact that now he has a nice solid teammate. They could probably win a bunch of them in a row if they decide to stay, as teammates. So we'll see, how that progresses. Another one I wanted to shout out is Mahmoud. He had a solid races in that Aston Martin, out there racing with him at Japan. I think he had an error at some point. But his pace at the first stint was good, as well as some others, and I think he is a good pick for someone who shows up, who is attentive in the league, who's active, who will say, good commentary to us after the streams, or good
Always
races, and that's what we want. I mean, he shows up, you practice, you're prepared, and he's a solid driver. And honestly, excuse me, if you have a few other good races, I mean, he could sneak into that top 5 because he's really not that far from Sir Charles. 47 to 70, a couple good finishes with the sprints as well. But that's someone who I kind of circle for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I was around Mahmoud a lot in season 18 on track. And, in those races that season, I was just looking for top 5s because my pace was nowhere near B-Tom's, Remsley's. There were some races where Lion and I were pretty close, but I think he had the upper hand in most of the races. So I was just looking for top 5s. And Mahmoud, he showed up more so towards the second half of last season, but he was hard to shake when he raced because he's someone that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and you know he's going to finish. He's going to finish the race. He's going to show up to the race. So, yeah, he is a solid driver, and like you said, great person to have in TCR. You know, if we had 1,000 Mahmoods, then we could have world peace. Maybe more than that. Maybe like a million Mahmoods, but
We could call it the Mahmood series too.
that would be fun.
And I mean, commentating that would be fun. And Mahmood goes on Mahmood on Mahmood.
That would make things really easy.
Mahmood, listen to this one. Mahmood just made a move and Mahmood out of the way.
Okay, now my brain hurts.
And I think that's what's gonna do it here. Actually, final prediction for the season.
Yeah.
Any crazy thing that's gonna happen, Camden?
Yeah, we're not shutting this episode off yet, Sea Freaks. We have to put in some predictions. I think what we'll do is I'll give a prediction and you give a prediction.
Okay.
Because we got to redeem ourselves from our shitty predictions at the start of the season. And I know I have a lot of shitty predictions. That usually happens. This is my time to redeem that. Because there's only 4 races left, right?
Yep.
I can't really screw things up. But, notoriously, when I do my podium predictions, I'm slacking. Okay? It got so bad. I don't know if you saw Imola, Seafreeze. I literally was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to pick 11th, 12th, and 13th in qualifying. The bottom 3 in qualifying. I picked those as my podium picks because I'm like, let's just see what happens. They all DNF'd. They were the only ones that DNF'd throughout the whole race, okay? So what I'm about to say might be a little bit reckless because I'm going and I'm singling out a driver, you know, giving my prediction of what they're going to do. But I think in the last 4 races, and he might disagree with me, I think Jose is getting on the top step of the podium. I've seen a lot from him this season. I've talked to him just about every week in the post-race interviews. And I think he's going to get on the top step of the podium, partially because he's quick, but also he tends to win the races that are full of chaos. And we got a lot of chaotic tracks coming up. So, Jose, I'm putting all my chips at your table. So, good luck.
All right. Well,
I know.
you need a prediction?
A lot of, yeah. Well, that was my prediction. That's Jose's going to win a race.
Well, that's a good one. I think that's realistic. I think Speedy Gunner probably wins a race as well.
Speedy's going to win?
Yeah, Speedy. Well, you're laughing at my joke.
No, I don't know if he races anymore.
Is he not?
He went down to reserve.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Well, I thought.
Take 2.
All right.
I mean, if you think he's gonna win, then sure. I wouldn't put all my chips on the table for that one.
All right. Well.
You know. I mean, if you want to say, I don't know if he's gonna show up.
All right. Well.
He's also, you know, you've. Let me see. How do I say this? Chabar has the same amount of points as him this season.
Okay. All right.
So,
How about Joby?
Joby. Seafreeze. Joby's not in the server anymore. Are you messing with me, or are you actually like? Because the Speedy one, okay, that's fine. He's still, but like, you know, Joby left like 3 weeks ago, right? He quit on us.
News to me. Let's see.
You raced a couple weeks ago. You didn't notice that Joby wasn't there?
I never noticed Joby is there.
Oh.
This was my April 1st Fool's
April
joke,
Fool's. Oh, that was good.
but
That was good. I didn't even realize that.
I couldn't even pull off the joke because one guy hasn't shown up and he's went to reserve, and the other guy's out of the league.
That was a good April Fool's joke.
I,
I
uh,
completely forgot.
it wasn't even in April. I didn't even pull off the joke.
You didn't even mean to do it.
Well, no, I was intending on making the joke, but I wanted to pick someone who was an outlier, and I was gonna say, "Oh, April Fools,"
Oh.
but those are just unrealistic. And I said realistic, and I said speedy. It kind of meant to happen, but it also didn't mean to happen. That was
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
crazy.
if you want, you can try again.
All right, well,
Now that you know it's an April Fool's joke, I mean, don't hurt any feelings here, though. That's the
no,
thing.
no, um, I'll go out and say it. Seafreeze is winning a race in the last 4 races.
Freeze back on the podium. Okay. You know, you might want to start getting podiums because Tom broke your podium record at Belgium. He now has 80.
After this episode,
podiums.
listen to me, everybody. Whoever is listening to this episode, if you really want to bring back Seafreeze at my level that I should be at, this episode is going out on April 1st, right? I want, if you're listening to it, it should be out in the morning, 8 a.m. If not, maybe 10 a.m., depending on when everything gets done and finalized. I want everyone to talk shit to me in the Discord and piss me off, because in the next 4 weeks I will put in the amount of practice and I will attend and I will try my best to get a win, or definitely at least podiums. But I would actually get prepared.
Now. I can start right now if you want me to.
But it's got to be aggressive. It's got to be a lot of people. 3 people saying, "F you, Seafreeze." That ain't gonna do it. You got to piss me off. If you don't piss me off, I ain't racing. So that's I am giving it to you, everyone out there. Just for April. Just for April 1st. You can't start talking shit on April 2nd. I'll come after you. And you're going to be looking like Joby.
You don't want to end up like Joby.
Yeah.
I have the same amount of points as Joby does this season.
That should have been my answer. Maybe you should commentate and race and win from Abu Dhabi. And maybe you should do what I did a couple years ago. Huh?
I could do that. I could get back in the driver's seat, come out of my unofficial retirement.
That's fun.
Well, I mean, this episode is uploaded on April 1st, so technically it is April 1st, and technically I can insult you. So, yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, Tom also broke your wins record, your points record, your top fives record, your championships record, your he's on the way to getting the constructors record. What else? 7 places. Yeah, just to name a few. So
yeah, go ahead. I mean,
yeah. No, that's all I got.
It is all you got, because there's only one guy that's over me. How many people are over you in stats?
In the silver class, not many. I think I'm the GOAT of that series. Yeah.
The one that's no longer?
yeah, the one that doesn't exist.
You're so far stuck in the past it ain't even exist anymore? What are we, Blockbuster?
I wouldn't be talking if I were you.
All right. But this is the environment I like. This is where Seafreeze gets going and starts practicing.
Watch, Seafreeze, he's going to take all that motivation. He's going to race tomorrow, and I'm going to be like, and Seafreeze has won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
I'll Red Bull up.
Do it.
I don't know if I could Red Bull anymore. The heart palpitations are too much at this age.
Yeah, I heard there was a recall on them, but anyways.
Well, there's a recall on their drivers too, because we just went over an episode with that. That should be coming out. We talked about some Red Bull, not just the drink, but the racing Formula One team and the second driver's seat with Tsunoda at replacing Lawson at Japan. So that should be out after this episode at some point, either today or before the Japanese Grand Prix later this week. So thank you, Camden, for a nice mid-season review. Hope everyone enjoyed, and hopefully everyone will tune in. You see it right there on the screen on the YouTube side of things. It is Abu Dhabi, April 1st, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, and that is on our YouTube channel and also on our Twitch at Trinity Racing. You can find us, but you can do all of that very easily if you join our Discord, where we are the most active, and you get all notifications. You get extra information for all of the season's statistics for the drivers, information for internal league announcements, anything social media, and we have a pretty cool Discord for when you watch real F1 as well. It's good to chat in there for regular general motorsport chats. Nonetheless, I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and until next time, thank you for listening.